Well, thanks for coming. This is something new, I think. We never did this before. Power of sales, foreclosures, and my wish is I hope we never see it. But the way the market is going, a few years back, uh, power of sales were very actively on the market. And the way the market is going, we have to be pre-active. If we don't, then if anything comes up in our hand, either from a financial institution or a bank, or a listing from someone else that is under power of sales, then we don't know how to handle it. Okay, so the reason we are putting this here, I want everybody to know that you deal differently with power of sales and foreclosure than a regular MLS or exclusive property on the market. 1989, the end of 1989, beginning of 1990, until 1996, June, I worked as a real estate broker manager and also property manager with MFS Realty, which they are still in existence, Miller Financial Services. I was their property manager, and we were only doing power of sale, but nothing else. Many real estate companies, they were closing because there was not a regular enough business for everybody. And we had about 17 different banks and trust companies under our contract. So many of them are closed now. Regional Trust, you don't see it. Laurentian Bank, which we service, they are in Montreal only. They had an office in Toronto. BMO, RBC, we were servicing them. Now, let me tell you one thing, because I know power of sales. I dealt with them for 6 years, one time, and another maybe 3 or 4 years before that. This is 1976, 77, when the government of Ontario introduced in speculation tax. Then many investors, they lost their houses. So because the market changed, 50% taxable on every profit. So no bank and financial company or trust company would like to take anybody's house because they make money. They don't. 90% of them, they lose money, and they don't want it. When they lend you 3, 4, 5, 600,000 or $1 million to your clients, they make money on the interest. They don't want anybody's property. They don't want to take somebody's property and say that, oh, that's it now, we're going to sell and make money. There is no such thing. When the market gets bad, it's bad for them too. Especially now, the banks are tougher because they know that the rates are under pressure from US and here. And very soon, who knows, hopefully we don't see it, if there are renewals with the second lenders, B lenders, that they are under 5.5%, 6% when everything was 2.5%, 3% because of the qualification problems. All those people, when they go renewing to the regular bank, conventional bank, they're not going to get the rate or the terms they want because the property value is lower than a year and a half ago. Not only that, interest rates gone up. So the qualification process is now totally different. Now, most of them, they're going to get refused, or they have to come up with the difference in cash. If you had a property qualified for $1 million appraisal, and 20% is $200,000, $800,000, that property is not going to appraise today $1 million. It will be maybe $850. So now, what are you trying to do to get from the bank? 100% financing? We don't have that in Canada. They don't. So refinancing actually is harder than getting a new mortgage. Brand new mortgages are easier. Purchase, it's always easier than refinancing. When you are refinancing it, you don't get more than 65 to 70% to loan to value. All right? So you have to keep that in mind. The process of power of sale is not an easy process for the bank or the seller, the owner, and the lawyer. A lawyer, those days, I'm talking 1990s, just to start the power of sale, they were charging $10,000 to $15,000 to the bank. Okay, The owner doesn't pay that. Obviously, somebody has to pay a lawyer, and there are the specialized lawyers. Not every lawyer opens, works with power of sale issues. There are a special, knowledgeable lawyers. Because you make one mistake, it's like anything else. It delays the process for 2 to 3 months. It's like making a mistake on the address or the name of the person or anything else. It delays the process. So they have to be specialized in power of sales, and it's a 10 to 15,000 those days. I am sure now would be probably 15 to 20, right? So that's off the bat. If there was 800 owing, now it's at 820. Then what happens? In winter time, you get a property under your jurisdiction as a property manager. You have people that they work for you. You have to winterize the property, number one. You have to turn the water off from the main. All the toilets and sinks have to have antifreeze, right? Number two, you have to go and visit the property at least once a week. There is a schedule that the property managers sign, and you have to give a report to the bank at least once a week, all right? And shovel the snow for people that they're going to be seeing the property, and make sure that there is no damage or breaking in. That's winter time. Make sure the heating is on the 19 degrees centigrade. So this has to be done at least once a week, in some cases twice, depending the value of the property and the neighborhood. Summertime, it's vice versa. Then you have to have somebody to cut the grass. You have to have somebody to check the property if there are any damages. Sometimes they go and vandalize the property. So this is all coming out of bank's pocket. If the property sells within 15 to 20 days, it's a perfectly scenario. Some properties don't sell for 3-4 months. The cost goes adding up to thousands of dollars. And before I go into details, the reason I'm telling you, so at least you have an idea exactly what we're going to talk about it. And there are upset owners. They don't need the property with broom swept, like broom swept condition we put in our offers. Okay, most of the time we say seller hereby, buyer and seller agree that on closing day the house will be in broom swept condition and all debris and junk will be removed from the property and garage. You're not going to get that. If it's an upset owner, they may even trash the property. I've seen toilets taken out from the first floor, thrown down to the second, the lower floor, or vice versa, from the third floor or second floor of a townhouse or house, normal house, and thrown out on the main floor. These are the truth. I'm not exaggerating. So that's number one. Number two, sheriff. It's an ugly situation to be in there when they come to remove the owner. And there are some tough times. Some owners are like 6, 9, or 7. They come out, to have a little bit of body language with the sheriff. But those people are tougher. They have a rifle. They can put you handcuff and then throw you. And the kids are crying. So it's not a very good situation to be in. But when we work in real estate or property management, we have to know how to handle all this situation. Stay away. Don't get involved too much. And power of sales, sometimes it's very profitable. I know one time I was putting a sign on Pickering area, and those days, 1991, 92, $700,000 for Pickering is a big money, okay? Today, like probably 2 million, right? I'm just putting a sign that is going to be on the market. Somebody came to the driveway, it's a long driveway, and they say, what's happening here? I said, it's going on the market. When in a few days, power of, I said, take the sign off. I want to buy this. I said, you don't even know how much. Don't worry about it. I said, just take the sign off. I said, I cannot do that. We have to put it. We have to get appraisal done. And then he bought that property full price. I made 6%. The banks don't cut commission those days. Now it's not 6% anymore. 1990s, it was 6%, and no payment to the lawyer or deduction to somebody in the middleman. Now you have to pay a little bit here, a little bit there to get the deal. So 6%, it's easy money because I didn't even do anything. The first week, it's sold. Power of sales, they have to get appraised minimum by 2 appraisers. They are not the best deal on the market, believe me. And the bank goes with the higher appraiser, not the lower one. If there is a property being appraised for $1 million, and another 1,050,000, and the actual value may be 975 or 950, the bank cannot put million or 975. They have to go at least 2 to 3 weeks higher appraisal. So it's 1,050,000. Even maybe few thousand more. Why? They have to protect themselves. Because under the Canadian law and power of sale, if they sell the property under value, the owner can come and claim that, and the judges 90% of the time awards the owner. If they sold that property 950 without trying 1,050,000, $100,000, if the owner figures it out that should have been 1,050,000, not 950, and one court case, they get $100,000 from the seller, from the bank. So they have to be very careful. They cannot entertain offers below asking first 2 to 3 weeks, even a month. After that, they do another appraisal, then they may go with the lower one because they tried. So there is a proof paperwork, everything is in place. All right? Foreclosures is mostly in United States. That's a different process. I'm only going to talk a little bit about it today because under our Canadian mortgage laws, there are many other remedies to the bank. Besides power of sale, foreclosure, there is judicial sale, there is court sale, which is a part of the judicial process. There is auction sale, you know, but they are not very popular. This is the fastest remedy and the cheapest remedy to the bank. Therefore, in Canada, you don't see foreclosures, maybe once every 10 years, once every 5 years, I don't know. But in US, it's the other way around, okay? And there is a difference in between, in time and profit. This doesn't leave you any profit, this one does, okay? But the process is minimum 6 months. That's why you own the property. The bank owns the property in here.
Excuse me.
Yes.
So in the US, you don't have any power of sale?
90% of the time,
No.
This is the one. Okay? Here, 99% of the time, that's the one. There are other remedies they can choose, but this is the best remedy for the bank. And there are 2 types of power of sales. That's going to be in detail. And in the middle of it, maybe in about 45 minutes, I'm going to give you some paperwork. I didn't want to print this anyway because you can get it by email. And this is not very important. I have some other stuff that you can see. Okay. Until 1994.
You give us some.
Yeah. Until 1994, the land was being conveyed to the mortgagee. Okay. When you bought the property, the deed was signed if you are getting a mortgage to the bank. You didn't have a title on that land. After 1994, when the land titles came up, then you own your land. They put a charge or a mortgage on the property. Before, there was no such thing. You had to convey the property to the lender. All right? That's what this page says over here. So when they had the conveyance, it was easier for them to deal because they have the title anyway. They don't need lawyers to work on it. They don't need. When actually in my first few years in real estate, when I did power of sales, it wasn't like the lawyers had to write letters and wait for this. The bank could take action immediately because they had the title in their hand. You sign them. You have a copy, they have a copy saying you have my rights. Now, after 1984, there is something called either a mortgage or a charge. So they put that on the title, but you have the title. You own it. There is no partner. Okay? So that's the difference. After 1994, things became a little bit more complicated for the bank. A charge creates a lien on the property. No transfer of title occurs. So they don't have to transfer anywhere the title because there is a lien on the property that unless you pay that, you get rid of it, you're not going to be able to sell that property. The terms mortgage and charge are the same. Whether there is a charge or a mortgage, Even right now, if you get a line of credit, you know, if it's registered on the property, it's a lien, regardless how you look at it. It's not a mortgage. The payment options are different. The interest options are different, but there is a charge on the property, right? When you're discharging it, so you're paying your lien off. So the title is clear, then there is no issue there. So if there is no more, the bank is not involved, and they don't have to give you any more the title back because you have the title originally. So there are legal rights in your mortgage assignment, in the mortgage paperwork that you sign with the lawyer. When the bank prepares it, there is about 20 pages. Besides all the other remedies, there is going to be power of sale and foreclosure. Now we go into details of this. What happens and when happens, and then what you have to do. There is always a chance, if you know someone going to be under trouble, I will tell you that they should be open-minded. To keep everything boiled up, you're late with your payment, you're not going to get away with it. They have to be educated that there are people on the other end, sometimes they like to help, but if they don't know what the hell is going in your life, then they won't be able to help you unless you go and talk to somebody, all right? So, what happens? As I told you before, it's the least expensive method for the lender to go with power of sale. Do they get everything back? Well, most of the time. It takes 15 days. You have a mortgage payment first of the month, March 1st, and you don't come up with the money. You want some water? Who's coughing? You like some water? You want some water?
I'm looking for something to suck.
Here, let me get you some water. How about that? It looks like you have a dry throat.
No, there's some pollen has come into
Okay, let me get you some.
Thank you so much.
Years ago, I give a glass of water to a lady from Germany. Until today, I get a bunch of chance and every time we're done with something.
Thank you.
Cherry, more cherry, you know. Sometimes that button opens a lot of avenues. Okay, 15 days, you're late. The 16th of the month, they have the right to go to a lawyer and issue a power of sale notice to you. All right? There we go. The 15th day, they have the right to go to a lawyer. Now you got 35 days to come up with the payment after receipt of the money, the letter. That's not a very long time. If your problems are very short, if you can resolve those problems in a month, it's a good time. They give you that time, and you have to come up with arrears to put yourself in good standing. And if that happens once, forget about renewal with the same financial institution. You lost that chance. Remember, we have in some mortgages, the buyer or the owner has the right to renew with the same terms or conditions, whatever the rate is, but you lose that chance anyway. So 35 days. If you don't come up with the arrears in 35 days, then the property is under power of sale officially. All right? Then they're going to send 2 appraisers and appraise the property, and you have to vacate the property. All right? They want a vacant position. Now, there are issues if it's a tenanted property. There are different issues if it's a multi-residential property. We will come to that when in a few minutes. So they put, and if you don't come up with the arrears. What I would suggest, in case you know someone in difficulty, with the first 15-day missing, the payment is missing, I want those people to go to the bank that they are making a payment and be open with one of the head guys, let's say either a mortgage specialist that they dealt with, or the bank manager, or someone that is responsible, not the tellers. Sit down and say, I'm having a little bit of issues. I can only pay you $500 this month, rather than not paying nothing, all right? When your payments are $1,500 and you don't have that money, you only have $300, $400, $500 for that beginning of the month, and you are expecting something that is going to happen maybe towards the end of the month. I know for a fact they are not going to issue the power of sale because of that $500 that you have good gesture. You're going there yourself and you're saying, we have a bit of issue. My husband lost his job. I have 3 kids. Can you give me a little bit of extra time before you issue that? 90% of the time, you get that. If you play like smart or dumb and don't do any of this, the letter will be at your doorstep on the 16th of the month, and make sure that will happen. So, you know someone like that? Do they discuss their issue with you? Tell them to go to the bank and put the house right away on the market. Because no use to keep something that you're not going to be able to pay every month. There is going to be this problem every second month or third month. Get rid of it. Lose some on your profit or your purchase price. It's better to have your face clean, and then a year, 2 years, 5 years from now, you can apply for a new mortgage again. So that's the idea or advice I can give you. So don't leave it like closed up and then nothing is going to happen. Something is going to happen, and there's going to be a power of sale.
So the seller has the right to sell the property?
Yeah, the seller until such time has the right to sell the property.
I was gonna say, like, does the bank give you a certain
Oh
amount of
yeah.
time?
While you are in arrears, this 35 days that they're going to
Because I
be
had a
coming to
client
get
that
you.
Decided to sell their house, and the bank only gave me 2 months.
How much?
2 months.
Well, then that bank was
Sell,
generous.
And then they were gonna take it.
Yeah, I'm telling you, they negotiate. You can negotiate with the bank, and 90% of the time, I'm telling you 100%. I dealt with 17 different banks. Nobody wants your house. They don't want it. They lose money on it. They rather see that you sell the property than they get involved in it. They give you month, 2 months, take it, and get rid of it. Don't be choosy like, oh, I want to make at least 10,000.
What about the credit score? Is affected very immediately after getting?
Well, you know what? Until that time, there is no credit score issue. Once you are under power of say you lose it, your credit is gone because they take your mortgage. It's finished. They wipe your mortgage, right? So you will have a very bad credit, definitely.
Is it possible to have 2 listings?
2 listings?
So the bank. And
No.
then the-
I will tell you why. Long.
And what if the owner pays some, for example, if the owner owns 100,000, okay? So what if the owner pays half of that in 35 days and asks the bank to give a chance, like no chance to pay? No?
You have to come up with a
whole amount?
plan. No, not with, you have to come up with a plan. If the bank is going to give you a couple months saying that, listen, we know it's tough time for everybody. We know your husband got sick or your wife got sick or somebody lost their job, that's fine. We're going to give you a couple months to come up with some solution. Within this couple months, instead of paying $1,500, pay us $500, okay? That will still hold the house and you're trying to sell in the meanwhile. You don't want to keep that house anymore. If the problem has started, you're going to be in the hole deeper and deeper every month, then going up. So get rid of it. But like she was saying, 2 months is a long time. They give you 2 months to sell the property as long as you come up with some payments. Okay? The moment you ignore that, then you're looking for trouble. Okay? Unless you want to have a bad credit, you don't want that house anymore. It's like up to there is a mortgage, like you cannot get rid of it. That's a choice you have to make. But I rather have a good credit and pay a little bit, stay in my house, than try to sell it. At least, even if there is a court case, the judge will look at it differently because then your real estate brokerage or agent is going to say, well, we did our best, right? But it didn't sell even for $850,000. So they have something to say there, all right? So There were some mortgages, you don't see this. This is an old, I'm giving you this example because you should know. There were some mortgages before. Somehow lender was missing to put the power of sale provision in it. Okay? They still have the right to come up with the power of sale, but the timing is totally different. You see, it takes 3 months for them to come up with the power of sale process, then 15 days. If the power of sale provision is in the contract, which 99.9% right now, all charges and mortgages have it, maybe few small lenders don't, then still you can open a power of sale process, but the time will be 3 months. So it's going to work against the bank because they have to wait for this 3 months time to get you out of the house. All right? The other rest of it is all the same. Instead of 35 days, you got 45 days, 10 days extra. But don't pay too much attention to this because I just bring this to your attention that if somebody is arguing about it, oh no, it was 3 months, not 45 days or 35 days, you should know that there is such thing available.
Okay, so just for the days.
Yes.
It's 35 days you notice that you're gonna get the power of sale, then once you've received it, you have 3 months?
Yeah.
Yes, okay.
This one here. The other one is you have 15 days. If you are in arrears by 15 days, the 16th day you get a letter.
Okay,
They give you 35 days to come up with the arrears
great.
after the letter.
Yes.
If you did that, or you went to negotiate with them, then you have a little bit extra time. You can put the house on the market, sell it. 35 days is gone. You haven't done nothing,
Right.
you are out.
So then so what happens to the 3 months?
No, this is the one that the power of sale provision is not in the contract. Let me go back.
Okay.
This is the one, the power of sale provision rights for the
99%
mortgage.
of the time.
Exactly. 99% this is always in. Maybe 0.1% the other one works for a small lender or private lender. Sometimes lawyers forget to put it. If you are a second mortgage holder, you may have not this one but the other one, depending who's your lawyer, you know. So you gotta be careful that if you're lending money or any clients of you be lending money to make sure this one is it.
So this is the timeline the homeowner should be putting.
Exactly.
Getting an agent.
Yes.
After the time they shouldn't, or they can't.
Yes. 35 days. You don't come up with the money, you are out of the house. All right?
Sorry, next page, last paragraph.
Next one. This one here.
Last paragraph. So it says up to closing date, which means that if somebody buys the property, like the
I am
closing
coming
date
to
is-
that. Don't
Oh,
worry.
okay.
That's the most important part actually. Okay? Tenanted properties. You have a bit of issue here. When it's property is tenanted. You have a property is tenanted and you have a 1-year lease. Tenant has the right to stay until the year ends. The bank cannot change that. That's under the tenancy act. The tenants have the right. The bank takes over and the tenant pays to the bank every month. Okay? What happens if somebody already paid 6 months because they are newcomer to the Canada? There is no credit bureau. What happens? Somebody pay a full year. We had a big case a few years ago. Reality Page Your Community Realty. We were on TV. That day I wasn't working. I was the lucky one. There was Terry Macy, my other manager from Torrent Hill. She used to be where Daryl King is. We were there. There was cameras, TVs, CTV, and Peter Sherman is his last name. You know, they interviewed everybody. Vivian ran out because she didn't want to be in a situation like that. What happened is this: we had an agent. He put a power of sale on the market and he sold it. There was a tenant and the bank went to the tenant. He says, from now on, I am your landlord, you have to pay me. He says, no, I'm not paying you because I paid the previous owner full year. They said, what do you mean you paid full year? Well, that's what we did. Because we were newcomers, we paid full year. Then they start going after the owner. First of all, those days to collect extra money, it was totally illegal. Now they are allowing it because the newcomer credit issues, you know. Those days, there was like the very bad thing to do. All of a sudden, this news went out that rental bureau sent us a letter saying that you were not supposed to do that. That agent did it. I don't know the reason. So all of a sudden we were on TV because Realty Page Community Realty is collecting 1 year in advance rent. They change everything, you know, media, right? They don't say why. They don't say why. They change everything. So the bank wants their money. The guy who left the house, he has the whole year income, the rent. So that's a big issue now. The bank is coming after Realty Page to get rent. Realty Page is saying we don't have the money. So it was about a month of, you know, going back and forth. At the end, everything cooled down. The agent Rico got involved, and the agent lost almost $20,000. He had to pay back.
The buyer agent listing
They
agent.
couldn't get money from there.
Buyer agent listing agent.
Our agent.
Oh, the agent was listing agent or buyer agent?
No, buyer agent.
Buyer agent.
So he got $20,000 penalty to have to pay. And he's no longer with us, obviously. So, yes, sir.
They couldn't get money.
Actually, I do have a contract with you. I'm tenant. I have a contract with you and I have to pay to you every month. Why I should change the other party? I'm tenant. If the bank tell me you have to pay me, right? Why should I pay?
But the owner becomes the bank, not anymore. You are gone. You lost your house.
Yes, but in the agreement of lease doesn't say anything about the owner.
If you wanna stay in the property, I am your new landlord. It's like I am buying this property. Let's say he is a tenant in your property. He's paying you. The end of May, I take possession. Now he's gonna pay me because I am his new landlord.
Yes.
So the bank becomes a new landlord.
Yes, it is the agreement between the new landlord and the previous landlord. How about the tenant? The previous landlord doesn't give anything to the new landlord.
You're missing the point. Let's look at it. He is a tenant, you are the owner, I am a new owner. What happens when you leave the property, your contract is done. I am a new landlord. I am validating his lease. So let's say he was there for a year. He's supposed to be there for a year. It's only 2 months. There is 10 months to go. I respect this 10 months, but from now on, he has to pay me. Now, in a case, regular case, if we know that tenant paid already 1 year in advance, then we will adjust it on closing day. But the bank has no clue.
The bank should be first
and last month. Even the last month is adjusted. Remember how we do it? The last month rent has to be adjusted on the closing date. But the bank doesn't know that this is happening 3 months ago, that the owner is collecting 10 months in advance because of reasons.
The banks fall because they have to ask.
There is no such thing. When they take the
Do you have
property,
any owing? Is it same as when you buy the business?
tenant,
The listing agent then was responsible for, the listing agent is now responsible for interviewing the tenant
Yeah.
or the bank.
of course, everybody is responsible.
It's not,
We are
the
not
buyer agent,
disagreeing.
the buyer agent.
Everybody is responsible, but those days you were not even allowed to take more than first and last month.
When sometimes they don't put on the contract.
You couldn't. That was totally against the rental rules and regulation. But this happened. That was collected. I don't know the reason, And the agent that we had over here, he got penalized $20,000.
But your agent was the tenant's agent, so the seller's agent.
Yeah, I think it was the seller's agent, whatever the reason was. I don't remember now. The whole case is like at least 15, 17 years ago. Okay, so tenants becomes the bank permanent problem. Tenant has a contract. The bank cannot kick the tenant out. If there is a 2-year contract, it has to be there 2 years. Whoever is buying that property will assume the tenant or bribe the tenant with few months' money and then get him out. That's the only solution.
So there isn't something where the new tenant, sorry, a new landlord comes over, so when he buys the house,
Yeah.
they want to use the whole house.
You can't. No, even now, for your attention, if somebody signed a 1-year lease and then I am buying that property, if the tenant does not want to break the lease, you cannot move in. There is a 1-year lease in effect. After 1 year, it becomes month to month if you don't renew it. Then after a firm sale, not before, you sign an N12 and then you give it to the tenant that you're going to move in. Hopefully you will, or one of your immediate family, or else you get sued for $25,000 now under the new rule. Okay, so you got to give them 60 days minimum notice for the tenant to go out. Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
No, let me finish. You keep your questions because you have a little bit of long questions. I will answer. Let me finish. Okay. So under the Tenant and Protection Act, the tenancy agreement cannot be terminated. Very simple. Okay? And except in compliance with the statute. So you cannot terminate somebody saying, I am the owner, now you are out. The guy has, the family has a lease for a year or 6 months, you have to respect them. That's very simple. This becomes more problematic if there is a multi-residential, all right? So it becomes you're dealing with 2 or 3 other tenants, not only one. Now, if there are no contracts, only in a month-to-month, then the bank is entitled to give a notice saying that we will put the property on the market. Here is your 60-day notice out. Now, when the bank takes over, that rule does not apply that you have to move in or the one of the whatever it is, right? Because it's a power of sale. You got to be careful that you're dealing with the issue, unless new rule dictates saying that even the bank is selling to somebody, this person cannot be removed unless the buyer family or the buyer is going to move in. I'm not going to discuss that. I don't know. It's a new rule. I didn't investigate as far as that. Okay?
Excuse me.
1 second. According to what you're saying then, if the person is already in a month-to-month tenancy, the bank can give in fact 60 days notice.
60 days notice, but I'm not sure if the buyer has to move in or not. That I'm not sure because the bank is selling it. If the same residential rules apply to the bank's buyer, or if we are selling it under power of sale, or it does not. I'm gonna say, with my short knowledge, it will apply. If the buyer is going to move in, the tenant is out. If the buyer is not going to move in or one of the closest family, tenant can stay because the rule is made for everybody. It doesn't matter who's selling it.
I just have a side question. I have heard after the buyer moves in, he has to stay there for 1 year. Right?
If the
buyer moves in,
yes, he has to stay minimum 1 year. Yes, yeah, minimum. No, it will be 1 year, either the family member or the buyer himself. It could be a close family member.
Sorry, are you referring to the rental?
So
Yes.
can I go back again that me as an agent, I would tell my buyer, do not touch this property till the bank has evicted after given 60 days notice to the tenant, the property is
But
vacant.
that may not work. That may not work. If the tenant has the right to stay, if the buyer is not going to move in, if the buyer's relative or the closest family friend is not going to move in, that may not work. The tenant maybe is never going to be out until the property sells, and then.
No, the property is in the control of the bank. It's under power of sale. The tenant, and it's not sold, obviously.
Obviously.
And it comes on the market with saying, basically, the bank has given the tenant 60 days notice to move.
No, the bank is not giving 60 days notice to move. The notice is only.
No, because they're on a month-to-month.
Yes. Still, you cannot get rid of the tenant. The property, the tenant can only be given 60-day notice on a firm sale. If you don't have a sale, you cannot give a notice to the tenant.
Oh.
First, you got to put it on the market. Then you have to get an offer. Then, if it's conditional, whether it's financing, 5 days, and inspection, those conditional period, you cannot give it because the offer is not firm. Once the offer is firm, all the conditions are out, then you can give a 60 days of the rental period, not from the time you're giving the notice. It could be middle of the month. If the rental period is beginning of the month, you can only give it first to first, second to second. That's the way. Okay? So you cannot give notice because 60 days they don't have a lease. Still, the rule applies. When there is a lease, you cannot give notice anyway because there is a lease. So there is no 60 days or 90 days. All right? Yeah, it is a little bit different. Yes. Power of sale for tenanted properties is multi-residential. This has a little bit of different information on it. Let me make it a little bit more simple. If the lease was executed and registered prior to the mortgage, then the premises cannot be disturbed until the end of the term. Okay, so if the lease was done prior to the mortgage, you cannot disturb the tenant. If the lease was arranged following the registration of the mortgage, the mortgagee lender is able to terminate the lease. This is a multi-purpose properties though, okay, not a single family. So I want you to bring your attention. Now what's happening is this. There are times when it's a tenanted property, the bank is saying, I want the lease to be registered on the property, to be safe, so they can get control of the tenant before they give you the mortgage. All right? It happens many, many, many times. They get the control of the property with your tenant in it. So if that's the case, then the bank has the right to terminate on a multi-residential. That's the key word over here. Now, there are some rules changed, by the way, with the tenancy act. I don't know the new ways, if this is going to be, I don't want to be quoted on this, okay? I'm not teaching the tenancy issues today. We are going after the power of sale. I don't know whether the new rules got changed on this subject or not, okay? I know the single tenancy, nothing to do with the multi-residential. It's there, I'm just giving you the option. Okay, I want you to know that there is a form, number 106. If you are dealing with a power of sale, you can get with your offer 100, one of this form, and making sure that the buyer is signing it. It gives a little bit of information, what are the buyer's rights, and because sellers have a lot of rights, and I'm going to tell you all that. When you are selling a power of sale, you have to know a couple things that is going to affect the sale. You're never going to get what you see, what you get. Appliances, drapes, gas furnace, air conditioning, you cannot say it's going to be in good working order. It's going to be taken out. Property is as is, where is. That's what I'm saying is not always the best deal on the market. When you are buying or selling property under power of sale, it could be actually more expensive at the end of the day, depending where it is. Until the last day, this doesn't happen very often, but it happened to me twice in 6 years. Until the last day, one was a multi-residential Oakwood and St. Clair area, Old Toronto. Another one was in Oshawa. Until the last day, the original owner can come and get his property. So that doesn't happen very often. In 6 years, 2 times, you know, but it happens. So what happens is this. Somehow they get extra money that they were expecting. They were in a commission business. The deal that it was in jeopardy, it got closed, and they love their property. They go, they say, how much you sold this property? So much. How much we owed? On $1 million, 800. Here is $800,000. I want my own property back. The bank and the courts cannot refuse it. So now your buyer or the buyer, whoever it is, they have to find another property on the last day. And there is no responsibility on anybody's part. The bank is not responsible. The courts are not responsible. The listing is not. You know why?
Isn't the bank owed their interest and all other?
Everything.
Yeah.
Sure. They have to come up with all the arrears.
More than
it will be more than
Yeah.
that, obviously. Yeah. Just to bring to your attention, there are something called, you cannot put the stuff in the offer except 106 is the qualified from ORIA. Don't put any stuff because we have even in the cheat sheets and there are some stuff on the internet. Don't do anything because every bank, they have their own Schedule A's or Schedule B's, whatever they call it. And usually, this is a sample, okay? This doesn't mean every bank is going to have this. There are sometimes only 2 pages. There are sometimes I seen 4 pages. At the end of the day, they all say the same thing, okay? But in different way. So this becomes part of the agreement of purchase and sale. And without this, if you touch this in any way, even one word, your offer won't even be presented. Okay? My suggestion, if you don't know how to explain all this, send them to a lawyer or make it conditional on a lawyer's approval. Because a lot of the stuff in here, it's a Schedule A, the bank prepares it, yeah, and it is attached to the agreement of purchase and sale when you are doing it. It's a psychological. Buyers think power of sales are a bargain. Some of them are, depending where they are, but most of them are not. And you will find that out yourself, yes.
So just, as is, because I've seen some where you cannot see inside. Do you not have the right at least to look to see what's inside there?
Yeah, you go and see the property.
No, but I have seen someone MLS that's as is and it says not show.
No. It could be tenanted. Maybe tenants are not allowing it, or you have to bring a conditional offer after acceptance to go in permission by the tenant. Some tenants are their excuses, stuff like that. You can put conditional upon being satisfied after viewing. Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
If you have to do this in a conditional offer, is there some rule of thumb which says whatever the price is, you get 10% less or something?
There is no, the banks don't deal with that. I'm gonna
No,
tell.
this is us as agents.
Yeah.
Is there a rule of thumb which says, since you can't get in, a lower price can be offered?
No, there is no such thing. They cannot give you that. Yes.
If the house is not closed, but it's sold, can the buyer, the previous owner, come up with money?
Until the last day.
Even before closing?
Yeah, just before closing, 1 day before closing.
And what's gonna happen to the,
The truck is ready. You need a representative in your house. If it's your buyer, you have to invite them to your house.
they don't give them any like penalties or anything like
Nothing.
that?
That's why they make you sign this. All right, let's go on with a few more. Yes, question.
So if closing is like June 15th,
Yes.
let's say, they have until June 15th to fix the problem, or June 14th?
June 14th.
Okay, so the day before close, okay.
June 14 is the magic number, okay? Now, let me tell you a couple other things that will affect the power of sale. HST is always on resale homes, regardless what you like to put, is included in the purchase price. But because these forms are made in general, it applies for commercial, it applies for residential, multi-residential, store and apartment plazas. It's always here, it says that the buyer, in addition to the purchase price, is responsible to pay HST. Don't touch that. Because the moment you say, why my buyer is buying $1 million property, he's gonna pay 130,000, no, he won't. That is there as a general clause for other property that needs to be under HST rules and regulations. HST is not gonna be charged, even if you wanna pay it. The lawyer cannot charge, it's a resale. Okay, so don't touch that HST problem. Leave it as is. The other thing, yes, as is, where is. You cannot put in the offer all the appliances will be in good condition. So I didn't create this, by the way. If you don't like to deal with power of sale, then stay away. Like rentals now, everybody is saying, how are we going to do it? Well, this is the new rules. That's the new contract. You don't want to deal with it, then you're going to tell your landlord, I don't want to choose another agent, or your tenant, you're gonna say, I know Mo, he is a good agent, he's renting. So you can get it, right? Yeah, they give it to him, he wants to rent property.
You can't do anything.
Yeah, so no problem. So I mean, rules are rules. There is nothing that we can change. The bank is holding these rules. This is typical, that until a day before, the owner can come and within the property paying up all the arrears. That doesn't happen very often, but it can. The other thing, I will give you everyone now the offer. That's why I kept it till now. So you know more or less what to look for. And this is a real offer that you went through, by the way. And 90% of the time, this is what you're gonna get back from the bank. Please review, and then we're gonna go over together. This is one of my power of sale those days. It's back 2009. I hope I have enough for us. We're going to make some more copies. Who? Oh, yeah, everything is your responsibility. It says over there.
Okay. You can see what's going on the property if you're a mortgage.
Sure.
Yeah, so
Because there are some.
that's the hardest part with selling a house. The agents they're looking to see what's owed on the property.
Oh,
They
yeah.
don't give you the exact amount.
Yeah. Unless there are unregistered leases.
Yeah.
Yeah, that those are the ones.
Like a second mortgage, they don't know.
Yeah, exactly. every time, residential, single family, residential. Okay. Now, land, the plaza, those things are not here.
Is there like a length of time if you put it on approval?
I give you mine. I give you yeah, I never. You are a special. Yes. Everything is plus HST. Yes. But somehow they work with the workers, they can get it. If I work with this, then they can get most of it. Okay. So. Sam. We make more copies.
That is a special one.
This is the special one for you. Okay, we make copies back and forth. Okay, I'll try to do it for you. Now, as you see, this is a bit of, you're gonna say, is it real? Yes, it's real. And today he is not in. There is another gentleman that about a month ago, he sold a power of sale. He was on the listing side. He got exactly most of the stuff changed by the bank because no agent is, if I am the buyer agent, I'm not gonna do this. I'm gonna send my offer with all the stuff, conditional on this, everything is working, there is no grow up. I will put all that, but the bank is gonna take all of them out as long as the price is agreeable. So on the first page, there are some stuff taken out just for privacy, okay? The names and stuff. And obviously the first page is seller, those are normal stuff. As you see on the second page, with the title search, with most of the stuff, it's all taken. HST included, they took it out, you see? And this is a residential property. Number one, the person who's dealing with this offer is a bank employee, one of the high ranks, okay? Not the one you see day to day. The lawyers, when they do everything, they send the listing, you send the listing to the bank sends it to the lawyer approves it, you get a listing, okay? Now, the bank is responsible for the appraisal. They send two appraisal, one is $1,050,000, one is $950,000, they go with $1,050,000. Now, your client likes the property and they know that these things are normal. They say, put an offer on it, $1 million. The bank will allow you 5 days condition on the mortgage and 5 days for inspection. You are allowed that, okay? Nobody gonna take that away from you unless there are multiple offers and somebody comes without it. Then obviously they choose the one, there is no condition, okay? The bank is not gonna return the offer taking your condition. The only thing they will take out, some family reform act, obviously you have to be a resident of Canada to buy it, and then it goes on and on. Now, why are they doing that? HST is not included, HST is included. On the second page, third page, if you turn again, there is a urea formaldehyde, the stuff is taken out. Taxes is taken out because the bank does not know, the person who's signing it, they never live in that property. They don't know who's paying what, if the furnace is working, if the air conditioner is working. You are buying the property as is because the owner is not there. If I was buying the property from him and he's the owner, I put that he guarantees it wasn't a grow-up house since he owned it, number one. The furnace at the present time, oven, refrigerator, everything is in working condition because he's using it. He gives the property to the bank never lived that. Whether everything is in working condition or not, they are not guaranteeing anything. So that's in there.
Sorry, Gregory, regarding HST, so then HST
is not included, but it is on the general. When you're selling single property, family property, even you want to pay HST, there is no HST. But the bank does not include it in the form that you're signing. I showed you a while ago. This one here. This is made for everything. Commercial, land, plaza, so they have to cover themselves. They use one form. They don't change it for any other house, apartment, condo, they don't. So they have to deal with one. HST is not included, but your buyer shall be guaranteed that it is included, okay? Yeah. So, yeah.
If the selling price is less than the loan, who has to pay the tax?
They can go after the buyer. They can go after the original owner if they want to. They can go. It's over here.
The new owner?
No. Original owner, I am saying. If there is a deficit, after the sale, after all the expenses, there is 50,000 deficit, they can go after the owner. Actually, how are you? 11? No, 11 we almost finished 1 hour. So it is original owner is responsible if they have money. If they claim personal bankruptcy, obviously nobody gonna pay anything.
I noticed that they took out the right to visit the property 2 or 3 further times.
Yes, some
Yeah,
banks do,
that-
some banks do that, some banks don't. This was the one that they took it away. Some banks leave it. Conditions are allowed, but most of the stuff, like it says, existing, what is it? Existing hood, refrigerator, this, that, they took all that out.
Yeah.
Whatever is in there, you get it. Nobody gonna remove anything. Whatever is not there, and whatever you're getting, if it's working, working. If it's not working, it's taken out, whether it's good condition or bad condition. Some stuff is like brand new in some houses.
What happens if some of these items have like liens on it?
Let me finish this. Let me finish this.
Out of curiosity.
Grow up is taken out, okay? So this is typical. Now, some banks leave some stuff, some banks take more stuff. I mean, this is something that it's like you have to work with the bank. But I'm gonna say right now, if you are dealing with a mortgage broker or a bank representative, at the end of the day, if anything goes wrong with this borrower, they will have the first information. So be good with them. You may get a power of sale. Like one of my agents, he's not in today, he got a power of sale from a mortgage representative in the bank. Now, do they know each other 2 years ago? No. He gave 2-3 deals to this person. And then this lady in the bank knows that these people are in trouble. He said, Gregory or Jack, why don't you go and talk to these people? Because there is going to be a power of sale issuing soon. Now, the people didn't want to put the house on the market. 35 days after, he went under power of sale, he got the listing, and it sold. And this is typical. This is not his offer, but it's more or less the same thing. So 80-90% of the time, this is what you're going to see. You do your offer the way your client wants it, the way you're supposed to do it. I'm not saying don't put the grow up, don't put conditions, put everything the way you do on a regular basis. But when he goes to the bank, it's not going to come back how you wanted it. It's going to come back like this. Therefore, before you say yes to it, go to a lawyer if your client is not comfortable because of this Schedule A's. There is 3 pages of Schedule A's, all right? Now, let's go back to a question. What happens if there are more than 1 mortgages? Let's talk about Canadian mortgage rules. Taxes are always number 1, okay, in Canada. Before anybody gets paid, property taxes have to get paid. So if there is only 1 mortgage, first mortgagee has the right to get the property, pay the taxes and condominium fees, and then pay the lawyer and get the appraiser done and done. If there is 2 mortgages, I am the first mortgage holding 700,000. He is the second mortgagee holding 200,000. The house is worth 1.1 million. The guy is in arrears. In order for his $200,000 to be valid and live life, he has to pay me first mortgage every month, or else he will lose his position as a second mortgagee. Okay, so my payments every month on 800,000, let's assume $1,500, and they are not paying him, they are paying me. Then I have no problem. The owner is paying me. They are not paying him. He can do the power of sale. He can go after them, put the property under power of sale as a second mortgagee. Now, they are not paying me, they are not paying him. He has to pay me, or else he is out. He loses the 200,000. When I issue the power of sale, he gets a copy. If he doesn't pay me, the arrears, he is out.
Greg, if you're related to the second mortgagee, let's say with a syndicated mortgage or a private lender, and one of your relatives was part of the second mortgage, you gave the homeowner the money. Are you not allowed to list that property for conflict of interest?
As long as it was disclosed originally, you are. And as long as it's disclosed again, you are. As long as disclosure was made properly in the beginning. Because don't forget, when you're lending money to make a deal, that's like a inducement of a sale. So you have to disclose that. If I'm gonna sell her a property and I also mortgage it, I have to disclose that I am the one I'm putting a mortgage.
So there's no conflict of interest?
No, as long as it's disclosed. If it was hidden, got, you
So it's
know.
not a
The
problem?
Form 106 is one of the schedule of this agreement or not?
Yeah, it's part of this, you should use it, yes, Form 106. If you want, tell them to be okay. So, is it clear, second mortgage? If there was a third mortgage, then the third mortgage has to pay the second and the first, or else they lose their priority. Very simple.
So they lose
They have,
priority.
yeah, they
get
lose
paid
their,
at
they
the
lose,
end.
they either gonna sue, okay, and pay these people at the same time, or they're gonna say, well, you know what, we are holding 50,000 on $1 million. By the time I go to a lawyer, by the time I put a power of sale, by the time the property say it's gonna cost me 60, 70,000, hell with it, let him deal. So third mortgagee is out, second mortgagee is in, if he wants to. If he doesn't, I am number one. I pay the taxes, I pay the maintenance, and I can get him out. That's it. The owner and the second mortgage is out, right? So that's how it works with,
But, Gregory,
no, unless there is a leftover money. then
when
yeah.
the property is going to sell, the first mortgage will pay, if they have some money in mind, they pay the second mortgages and third mortgages.
If there is any money left
Yes.
after the sale, they get.
And then after that, if something left, it's going to the
Owner.
to the owner.
That is hard.
When you say he has to pay you, what is it? I don't get that.
It's a monthly fee. My mortgage is 800,000, his mortgage is 200. If he doesn't satisfy me, then he's losing his.
$1,500 a month.
That's it. He has to pay me and the
I
taxes.
thought you meant you wanted to $900. I'm like, I was
No.
gonna say that.
How does the second mortgage or the third mortgage know whether the first mortgage is being paid?
Oh, they know.
They
know.
They get
They know.
notices.
Okay.
Everybody gets notices at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, when
Okay.
somebody,
I thought it was
oh
the
my
seller,
God, yeah,
I was
no,
like,
no, no.
well, then
They
how
know
can
because there is, everybody is on the title. You go today to a city hall of Toronto or Aurora or wherever.
So they'll notify,
Yes,
okay.
right now is everything online, the lawyers do it, but in our days, there was the book that they opened and you see all the encumbrances, okay, that registers. If there are unregistered, tough luck, yes.
And we go for a حراج بانک اینجا حراج بانک.
Leasing agent for power of sale, who's your client?
Who is my client?
Or the owner?
Always the bank. Owner is not doing anything, owner is gone. The bank is signing your listing, the bank is gonna sign your offer, you're representing the bank. Or the mortgagee, whoever it is, yes.
Is the second mortgage, is he gonna get reimbursed for
If there
the
is
money
any,
that?
if there is any
he's
money left
paying?
over, if the property sells 1.150 and 700,000 goes to the first mortgage, expenses are paid, everybody got paid, and there is 100,000 left, he gets the
No, for
100,000.
the money that he was given
No,
to you.
he's never,
as a
no, he is
mortgage.
holding his position in case the property is there, the value is there, he doesn't want to lose it. He is paying me to keep his position where it's supposed to be.
And if he doesn't?
Then he is gone too. His 200,000 is gone. If there is any leftover money, he gets.
And then if afterward the property sells, then you as a first
I get all my
lender,
money,
you're gonna get
I
all
pay
your
the
money.
taxes, I get
But
all
you
my
don't
money.
get
If there is
it.
any money left over, he gets it. If there is nothing left, no. If there is 300,000 left, let's say, it doesn't happen, he gets 200. And if that is a clean 300 after everything, then the owner gets 100.
I missed the part that you said that the owner, if they're going power of sale, they have to vacate the property.
Okay,
After how
I
many
read
days?
this. It's 35 days.
No,
They give you a letter, they give you a letter,
yeah. But after how
15
many
days that you are in arrears. If you don't bring your arrears within 35 days up to a good standing, then
Okay.
they come and take you out of the house.
After how many days?
35.
35 days have to vacate the
Yeah,
property?
yeah, 35 plus 15, you got almost like
You're gonna lose everything
Yeah.
in like less than.
You got almost
You
2 months.
always put on the power
Yeah,
sale when they
Yeah,
vacate.
unless you go and deal with the bank, they allow you extra month, you
No,
put
I
it
know,
on the
I know,
market,
but-
yeah.
but
But
it's-
that's the rule,
they should
that's
be-
the rule, they have to do
They
that.
always put on the power of sale on MLS when they vacate.
Yes.
While you're-
I have a question.
Oh, sorry, yes, yes.
So the mortgage default insurance, so this is all happen if the owner doesn't have mortgage default insurance. So if the owner has a mortgage default insurance, does insurance?
That insurance is with CMHC, it's not a private insurance company. That private insurance company, mortgage insurance is upon death or sickness. It doesn't pay otherwise. If you are behind your payments, that insurance doesn't cover. You have to be critically sick or died, one of the party, then that portion of the mortgage is paid by the insurance company. CMHC insurance is guaranteeing the loan to the bank, not to you. CMHC insurance is nothing to do with you. You pay it. So the approval is because over 70, 80%, let's say, well, then it's the bank is guaranteed by the CMHC, not you. That's a bank insurance.
If there's a registered line of credit, at what point, if there is a registered line of credit, at what point is it frozen?
But what is, sorry, I'm not here. Excuse me.
If
Okay.
there is a registered line of credit
Yes.
the old owner has on the property, at what point?
Immediately, when you are in arrears, if it's the same bank, they freeze that.
Okay.
So you cannot borrow to pay the mortgage, right? Because you are in arrears. If you are not in arrears, you can put as much as a loan on it, because that's your right. But when you are in arrears, then you are getting from Mr. Joe to give it to Mr. Peter, that's not going to work. They allow you if you are not in arrears with your mortgage. If it's the different bank, you have to deal with the different bank, because sometimes you have a mortgage with CIBC, your line of credit is Royal Bank. They don't even know each other. They don't care. So you can borrow from here and pay there. That's what you should do anyway.
Okay. So this line of credit, who gets, and where do they come in?
Whoever is registered first,
mortgage?
listen to this.
Yeah.
First mortgage, second mortgage, there is nobody else, then line of credit.
Then line.
Yeah, always. First, second line up. First, second, third, and the line up. You know, that's all.
Or first
They have,
in line.
yeah, line of credit has the right to do the same thing, but the amount of line of credit is never $700,000-$800,000. I mean, you know, 90% of the time is 100, 150 the most, unless you have only one line of credit as a mortgage. Yeah. Okay, let's go on. So, so there you go. So on the 30th of March, the buyer can come and redeem, the owner can come and redeem the property. So, I mean, there are some rules and regulations that whether we like it or not, we cannot change it. Here is Form 106, okay? It's available online and, you know, on the web forms. This is a good idea before you send the offer to get the signature. Now, the bank may even don't sign this. This has nothing to do with the bank, but you get your buyer understanding at least these two clauses, you know, that there are such things, it's going to happen or it might happen, all right?
That's for the buyer?
Yes.
Okay.
It's for the buyer. Like if you're putting it in, the bank may not even recognize that. They may take it out of the shuffle, but it's a good thing to discuss with the buyer. Now, if you have a condition on mortgage or inspection, and if you are not familiar with power of sale dealings, maybe it's a good idea to have the lawyer to put today's conditional while you are working with the inspection and the mortgage, to go with the buyer to the lawyer, you know, to discuss this. You know, most lawyers are going to say, this is it, you want it? It's like a brand new builder form. There is 30, 40, 50 pages you're signing with Terry on warranty and stuff. Lawyers don't like that, especially some conservative lawyers. They say, this is, everything is for the builder, developer. There is nothing in it. They can change the closing date 8 times, 4 months time each, 4 months each time. They can delay this. They can give you different unit. The specification can be different. The model can be different. You are accepting it, everything, right? So this is the same. Lawyers don't like it, but if your client is looking up the power of sale, they think they are getting it. It's all psychological. I bought it under power of sale. They think they got at least 50,000 cheaper. Psychological. There are times yes, there are times no.
No.
All right. So is the offer okay? Everybody got a copy and okay. Now, when we are representing the lenders, we are working for the lender. Okay, that's our client. It doesn't matter unless it's a multiple representation. You have the buyer in the same office or not. That's a different issue. It's a lender is your client. All right. You can put on a vacant home, you can put a lockbox as usual. On a tenanted, you make sure tenant is comfortable. You don't want to create an issue. Or there is going to be 3 days a week, 4 days a week between 10 to 4 or 4 to 7 or whatever the case may be. Try to be good with the tenant because they have nothing to do. The owner lost the property and now they have to suffer with all the showings because power of says usually they have extra showing because of the name. All right.
Gregory, how do the banks choose the realtors?
Realtors?
Yeah, so.
Well, if you're dealing
Referral.
with someone in a regular basis, you have your name is on top. Okay, you have to give business to somebody to get it. Other cases, they choose a location name. Let's say if Vivian's or Really Page's name is very popular with the RBC down the road, she might get a phone call. But usually it's agent, one-to-one basis.
Yes.
In our case, because we were doing property management, not because we were real estate, I was a property manager of a company, we got all the calls because they want something in a package. You do the property management, you do the sale, it's a company, we send the people to cut the grass, we send the people to clean the snow, so they want somebody to work only with one company, here is the monthly payment and do everything, that's it. And you sell it, you get your commission. Now I think their lawyers are looking for 1% kickback, banks are cutting commission, but at the end of the day, this is happening in every aspect anyway. So,
According to the new tenant and landlord boards, who they pay the last month if they have a tenant, last month's rent?
it has to be adjusted. Last month rent is always the buyer, new buyer has to get the last month credit if it's in the account. So
No,
you are
I'm talking about the tenant.
you are representing your landlord, lender. So you got to make sure that everything is looked after. And one thing, they will not improve the property unless it's a health hazard. Okay, they are not going to try to paint it if the paint is no good. They are not trying to change anything if it's something broken unless it's a window, unless there is a railing that clients can fall and sue the bank. They don't do any upgrades. All right, there is no upgrading. It's what you see, what you get, unless it's a issue that you will get hurt. All right, that's that. Now, when you are representing the buyer, you got to be a little bit more careful because lenders, they are on the driver's seat. They can sit there and say, we don't want this, we want that, or we change this, you like it, take it, you don't like it, don't take it. They are not in a rush to sell the property unless they get at least the appraised value, and they try hard enough to get that. You're not going to get a house under appraised value within the first 10 days or 1 week. Even you give them just under $5,000 under asking, they're going to sign it back exactly what is on the market to prove that there was a paper trail. In case the owner says, you sold my property lower than what it's worth, you pay me the difference. If most cases, if they can prove it, they get the money. So they're going to wait until they get what they want. 3-4 weeks after nothing happened, you as the listing agent, you can say the market in your area, this is it, here is some comparables. Then you show it to them. Then they can get convinced, another appraisal. If the appraisal comes close to what you're asking them, then they will reduce maybe 50,000, depending the price, maybe 30, maybe 100. Then again, what they are asking, that's what they're gonna wait, another month. At the end of the day, they try 2-3 months, nothing happens, then the last buyer that puts the offer can get lucky because they have a time 3 months and a paper trail. There were 3 offers rejected because of the price, another one because of this, another one because of that. If there is a court case, they don't lose the court case. That's what it is. And don't forget, they are not after your property. They are after recovering their money, right?
Sorry, just quick.
Yes.
I didn't see anything about the buyer's intention.
What intention?
Buyer's intention.
About
living over there.
That has nothing to do with this.
No, I know, but actually I had offer, but offer of sale.
That is nothing to do with that.
No, I do understand.
If it's a tenanted property, it's on the N12. That doesn't go in the offer. That goes in the N12.
If the buyer wants to flip it, not live over there, who has to pay compensation to the tenant?
To who?
To tenant.
Tenant?
1 month.
First of all, you cannot kick the tenant out. They have to be notified that.
Okay,
Yeah.
by 61 days notification, end of financing.
Yeah.
Because of what? Because of the owner wants to live over there.
But that has nothing to do with the course we are doing. When this is prepared, that rule wasn't even out. I mean, there is nothing in there that is going to satisfy you. There is something to do with the tenants That's something to do with the new buyer. If his wishes are to buy and invest and then sell it, then it has to be upfront. If the tenant is willing to move, fine. If not, pay the money, get him out. You cannot kick a tenant just because you want to sell it again. That's that has to be agreed on. That has nothing to do with what I'm talking today. I don't want to even get involved with the tenant investment. It's nothing to do with that. There is nothing in the offer right now that it deals with the tenant issue. Tenancy is in there. You give the proper notice. That's all. You know, if you're not gonna move in there, then the tenant has to know. If they are willingly to move out, fine. If not, you either have to shake your fingers, you know, or do something. Find them another place. That has to be agreed on. There is nothing that I can tell you about. Okay, foreclosures. I'm not going to go over too much because, as I said, foreclosures are for United States of America. We have this option, though. Okay, you should know the difference. All right, the difference. Pardon? Yeah, you can get email if your email is on that check-in paper. Yeah. So foreclosures are every mortgagee, every document has power of sales and foreclosure, and other ones. As I mentioned, you were not here, judicial sale, auction sale, all these things, right? But because they choose power of sale, it's the cheapest and the fastest. In 2 months, you have the property, okay? You change the locks. The owner is allowed to the property once after they are kicked out to get their furniture. You wait there till they move out. The locks are changed with the locksmith. Property manager gets the key and that's it. Now, with the foreclosure, the timing is totally off. With this, you need about 6 months for all the process with the owner, the bank, it has, and there is a clause in here that they can delay even that 6 months. With a notice of, or something they call it now, I don't remember the short form, it's gonna come up. They can delay that another month or two. So you're looking at from the start to finish to get the property, approximately 8 months. So this 8 months, the guy is living there. You cannot get rid of him. And at the end of the day, once he moves, then the property becomes your own. It's not like you have to give anybody account. They mortgage people, they can choose this if there is a profit at the end. If it's going to be break even or 100,000 more or less, they don't care. If there is an issue, the property is worth, let's say, 5 million, and the mortgage is in there, let's say 3 million, 4 million. If they know for sure that they do this, they're going to wait 8 months, they're going to get, at the end of the day, $1 million in their pocket, they can use this option. It has to be profitable because you're getting all this 6 to 8 months period without any payment. So, but you own the property. If power also, you don't own it. The title is not yours. Somebody can come and redeem it back, the owner, or you're doing a quick sale. But this one here, you own the property. Whatever happens after that, whether you sell 10,000 more or 100,000 more or 100,000, that nobody can claim anything against the owner, against the bank.
Who's gonna decide if it's foreclosure?
The bank decides that. Yeah, the bank knows the property, the bank knows the area, the appraisals come up, they decide. But I'm telling you, today's market, you won't even see this. Okay, you won't see it. Yeah. So, but they have this option. Okay, they have this option.
What's happened with the first and last month?
Pardon me?
What's happened for the first and last rent?
Then
Yeah.
first is gone because when it's first, it's first. The last one is always in the account. In the account because last month payment has to be, yeah, previous owner has it. If he's going bankrupt, you are not going to get that because it's part of the mortgage, right? So you lost it. If the guy is losing his house with 800,000.
The tenant should be paid last
No,
month or
the
not?
tenant is not going to be asked because that owner has that
Yeah.
money. It's gone. Yeah, so that's not going to be. On a normal living, normal sale, yes, that is adjusted on the closing date to the favor of the new buyer. But when you're losing the property, the bank is not going to come and say, give me another 2,000.
If there is money left.
If there is money left, then they adjust it anyway. But in most cases, it's hopeless. All right? Yeah, most cases it's hopeless.
Gregory, once I showed the property, which was on the power sale to a client, there was no appliance inside.
Yeah, no appliances.
So the
That
owner
means,
can take?
yeah, if they install it already before they moved out, sometimes they know that there is going to be a sheriff coming and taking the property. They take everything that is appliances, washers, dryers. They even take even the air conditioning, right? They take it, so this way you end up with nothing there. The bank is not going to say, I'm going to put appliances. That's the property is appraised as is. So whenever you're getting it, right? So this is just an information. It's not going. You're not going to see it foreclosure maybe in your career, but it's good to know that it's a longer version of it, and then they can stop it 2 or 3 times. They have the right to do that.
Can I back to see the day?
Huh?
I want to see the previous page.
They're
gonna send you an email.
Okay. I know. You have come
About?
Like for loan
No. The bank pays for it. The bank pays for it. The maintenance company goes, the property manager, they bill it every month. Yeah, every month there is a payment. Every month there is a payment, yes. Yeah.
There is no landlord discussion.
Yeah, there is, every month you have to get a payment from the management company about that. Yeah.
One question.
Yes.
If the house is tenanted and the tenant signs everything and says he's leaving in 6 months and stuff like that, but he walks out with all the appliances and everything else, me as the buyer is just going to accept that?
About appliances?
And all the other little stuff which goes with the house, like, all the equipment.
Well, if you are buying the property, you have to put what is in there, as is condition,
As is,
obviously.
yeah.
There is fridge, stove, washer, dryer, as is.
Yes.
If the tenant is using, that means they are working. I mean, or else no tenant would live in a
The
property.
tenant can walk out saying, this is mine anyway.
No, that has to be discussed with the tenant. There is your lawyer has to have some kind of a acknowledgement between the tenant and the bank that the appliances will be remaining there. Now the tenant takes out when they are moving out.
Yeah.
Really, you cannot do anything because you have the property. Then you got to go after the tenant. Nothing has to do with the bank.
Nothing to do with the bank.
Yeah.
Just go after the
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
It can happen to today in a normal tenancy. And let me give you a very, very bad example. My son had a condominium downtown. We got a bad tenant. It cost me $15,000 to get rid of a tenant, okay? And brand new appliances. She sold the washer and dryer or she took it away.
Oh my God.
When we got the key from the sheriff, at the end we kicked her out, When we got the key from the sheriff, we go in. Fridge stove is, I don't want to tell the condition about it. There were beards growing, but the washer and dryer was gone. She is in default already for 6 months. What am I going to sue her for washer and dryer? I went and bought another pair, $1,600, put it there. Yeah, very simple. That doesn't have to be power of sale. It can happen even today's life, So
the only recourse is to go after the
yeah,
tenant.
you can go after the tenant that you have to prove I bought this property. Here is the offer with the appliances. You're taking my appliances. Then you're going to fight for it. If it's worth it. If they are new appliances, yeah. If they are old appliances, really, you shouldn't even worry about it. All right. So. Just as an information, okay?
Oh, that is one more question that I
Sure.
always ask. We know there's no equity in the property,
Uh-huh.
and we're the agents who are going to sell it. Is the bank going to now pay us?
Yeah, the bank pays you. There is
Bank
no
must pay us
issue
our
with the commission. Don't worry about it. So far, in my power of sale lifetime, and in right now what's going on, nobody got 1 penny less. You get paid 100% on the date of the closing. If there is enough deposit here, you do. Some banks want the deposit in theirs. As long as the buyer is okay, the lawyer is okay, pay it to the bank. They have a trust account. Anybody has a trust account, don't worry about that. But 90% of the time, listing company holds the deposit. Okay. Now there is one thing I want to bring to your attention. On a regular agreement of purchase and sale, there is a clause in there. It will be crossed out. Maybe it's already crossed out. It says or we used to put this clause in earlier days that seller agrees to discharge any liens, mortgages, encumbrances registered against the property at his seller's expense on closing, either by solicitor's undertaking or whatever. That's not going to happen. You cannot use a discharge word in power of sale. There is a reason for it. Discharging means if he has a mortgage on the property as a second mortgagee, if the bank accepts that clause, there is everything, there is a reason. So you have to read and understand. Discharging means me, RBC, is paying him $200,000 to discharge the mortgage if he is the second mortgagee. Or if he is a lien holder, he has a 50,000 lien, we cannot use the word discharge or before closing by solicitors under, it won't work. Because if he is holding a lien on the property, in order for me to discharge that, I have to pay him. There is no way I'm going to pay him that kind of money or any money. So it will be wiped out. Okay, so he is losing that as a second mortgagee. I hope you never lose that. I'm giving you as an example. Okay, so let's go with you now. You gotta lose some money. So he is gonna lose his shirt on the second mortgage completely because it's gonna be wiped out as a lien holder, as a mortgagee. Yes. Any other encumbrances we say? What could it be? Furnace, air conditioning. If those people installed it and there is money owing, good luck. Bye-bye. They can go after the buyer or the original owner. Good luck to them. So there is no discharge word used, number one. Number two, most questions. What happens to me if somebody comes to my door? You are getting a car at 0 kilometer, regardless of the age. There is a new engine. Look at it that way. You are buying a 1969 Chevy Malibu with 0 kilometers. Okay, the house is 40 years old. Everything is started brand new.
So it's like clear title.
Exactly. You get a clear title. That's all you have to worry about.
So can we state in the offer we want clean title?
There will be clear title, or else it cannot be sold. It cannot be closed. So you're getting a 0 kilometer, 25-year-old home, and nobody will come to your door. Nobody will say you owe me 50,000. It's bad. There is no registration. If anybody is showing up in your door front door, you tell them bye-bye. That's it. So nothing there, not to worry about it. In case your buyer worries about, because that's the question I get, what happens to if people come and say, you owe me this, you owe me that? You have 0 kilometers, okay? So that's a good thing too. But there is no discharge. Nobody is getting paid. Where are we? There is, no, there it is. No, where is my,
What do you want?
Okay, there we go. Now we will talk. We open the floor for general question. If you have anything that we didn't cover, make sure you ask me, because I cannot cover 2 hours course in 5 minutes downstairs. I am here. You're gonna get emails of this, all this today, and the 106 is on web forms. You should read it and get to know the form, and also the offers. When you are with the buyer on the buyer side, educate them before. And I will always tell them it's not always the best buy on the market. It's 90% of the time, it's an equal value of any other property, unless you see that after your research, what is sold recently, and this is a bargain. 90% of the time, out-of-town properties are more bargain than the city properties because they get appraised differently, okay? Sellers, banks, don't push the button, wrong button of the bank representative. Fridays are the bad days to send an offer. I know how they work. They have a desk, they sit, there is pile of papers. They come in the morning, not all of them, but 90%. They look at it, Monday. Oh, Gregory's offer, Tuesday. Sam Babayan, this can wait another week. I'm telling you, they don't work. The irrevocable date for banks does not exist. Your offer is an offer to them. to deal with. They don't really care if the offer is expiring. They don't really care your buyer is rushing. Let's say you send an offer to the bank on Wednesday, okay, irrevocable for Thursday evening. Wednesday morning, you send it, and until, let's say this morning you send it, until tomorrow night. First of all, 11:59 doesn't work for them because they are there till 5, 4, whatever. Fridays are the very bad days. After 12:30, 1 o'clock, those people that they have the signing authority, they are out. They don't stay till 4 or 5, okay? Mondays are not very good because they come late. Because a day before they had some extra beer and stuff.
But they want to get their money back.
They want to get the money, but not leaving their pleasure to sign that right away. Because it takes longer, it looks better, you know? Like they say, oh my God, that's good. Now they are waiting, they are anxious. So Friday afternoon, no good. Let's say you send the offer this morning at 9:30, you faxed it from the listing. And agent on the other end, they are anxious because they, you know,
What we fax to listing agent?
he's sending me an offer. He's sending me an offer from the buyer side. I am the listing agent. He's telling me, Gregory, my guy needs this property. Please, I'm giving you best offer, this, that. I respect that offer. But if I know who I am dealing with, I know I'm going to tell him, be careful. It's not going to happen today. Tell your buyer, we will work with it, but don't rush. I have to tell him. If I don't know how it works with my other agent, didn't know, you know, then I am in dark too. I am sending the offer irrevocable till tomorrow, 6 p.m., Thursday. It happens, today is gone, nothing. Tomorrow is noon, nothing. Now, I wouldn't call them because I know how they work. And he's going to call me now by 3 times by now. What happened to my offer? I said, it's being dealt with. He's going to call me 5 o'clock again, whatever. The offer expired at 5. They don't really care. Because as soon as they touch the offer, they're going to make a brand new offer to you. Then it's going to be irrevocable day 24 hours. You have to reply. But they don't reply within 24 hours. So the more you bug them, the more it goes under. So I'm telling you, this is the truth.
I take it by myself to the bank.
It doesn't matter. They are not going to do anything with it, even if you take it yourself.
I never faxed them.
I'm telling you what they are doing. You can tell me whatever you want to do. That's your choice. The more you bug them, you aggravate the issue more. Don't bug them. You can leave one message saying that, as per the other agent, the buyer's in need to know if this is going to happen or you're going to get a sign back or something, because they need to know. They have to give a notice. They are tenants or whatever. After that, leave it. Until Monday, you're not going to get anything.
But when it's expired, the
It's
buyer
gone.
can just.
Yeah, sure. Buyer can change even after, before expiry. There are conditions, right? So the bank doesn't really worry about those things, okay? So don't bother, and they're gonna bug you. You gotta be careful how to handle it. Yes.
Did you say that if a buyer buys a power of sale property, they have a whole year before they can resell the property?
No,
Did I understand?
no, they can sell it. If the house is vacant, they go in. They can do repairs and change the stuff, renovate or update. They sell it in 1 month if they want to. There is no issue.
I can, as an agent, we've been in touch with this listing agent.
Uh-huh.
This is the power of sale.
Power of sale?
Yeah.
You call it. But if it's somebody experienced, I don't want to say like me, I don't want to put myself, if somebody experienced in the field, they're going to tell you, Amir, the banks don't work like regular sellers. I cannot bug them. I left it there. He accepted. He acknowledged that he got the offer. Let's leave it. You're going to get an answer. If I don't know who I am dealing with, like my other agent that is not in today, you know, he was calling the bank. I said, don't call the bank. You're going to aggravate the issue. They're not going to do any faster. They have a limited time to work with your offer, and it will be dealt with. So that's the way it works. Now, whether we like it or not, I'm only giving you the scenarios, okay? Now, there are exceptions. There is a new employee. He wants to score points in the bank. He just got assigned signature power. He wants to show his superior that everything is like roses and sunny stars. He signs it. That happens too. That happens maybe once in a while. You know, when I got chosen a new manager, I was trying to impress Vivian more than now. You know, now I said, who cares? You know, it's been 20 years, right? So I'm joking. So, so that's how it works. Believe it or not. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. it works like that. And 90% of the time, 90% of the time, you're not gonna get an answer in 24 hours. Okay? Any questions about power of sale specifically or foreclosure specifically?
Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
So,
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.